And so I guess I have some general questions, and then whatever you want to share would be great.
Sure.
My first question, just to make sure I have all the information right, is the position you have. Like, you teach high school, but are you high school mathematics? What grade?
I'm high school mathematics, and I'm actually certified in high school mathematics. And I work at a alternative high school for Portland Public Schools in Portland, Oregon.
Excellent. And how many years have you been teaching?
This is my 37th year as a teacher.
Oh, wow. You just extended my range. I had someone at 25 years, but 37. That's amazing.
My 33rd year with Portland Public, and I will be retiring in the fall.
Oh.
Or in the spring. I mean, June is when I'm retiring.
This upcoming spring or one more year?
No, this coming spring.
Oh, well, congratulations. It sounds like a long career. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, you should be. So, Lisa, if you could just describe your participation in the MOOC, how you participated, how you had students participate.
Sure.
Yeah.
I contacted you about the MOOC because I'm teaching a class called Bridge to Advanced Algebra, and it is considered a third-year high school math class, and students are required to have 3 years of high school math, and the third year of math has to be beyond geometry. The way our school system does math is the first year everyone does algebra, second year geometry, third year something beyond. And not all of our students are ready to go into Algebra 3-4 or Advanced Algebra, so we offer what we call Bridge to Advanced Algebra. However, at this point, it was the idea that the kids could either go on into higher level math or at least score a decent score on the Compass test if they choose to go on to, say, a community college setting. And so what I was looking for is something to supplement the curriculum that would give the kids some kind of practice on basic skills math is what I was originally looking for, and something that could give them some feedback and give them extra practice on just their first year algebra skills too. And when I went to the MOOC and saw what that was covering, I was just delighted because that's just what I wanted. In the past, we had used an online program called Play-Doh. And our district had a system called Apex.
I'm not familiar with Apex. Okay.
Okay. Well, let me put it up and let me see if there's another name for it I should be using.
Oh, but, no. I've heard of Alex.
I couldn't get into I wasn't allowed to use it because of the license fees were so expensive, and because I wasn't going to I was using it more as a supplement to the instruction. And so they were reluctant to pay for any because in the past I had used what was basically called a foundational math class online course. And I wouldn't expect the kids to all finish it, but I would use it, say, twice a week as a computer lab activity with the kids to more individualize what they were doing to bring up their basic skills math while we basically worked on the algebra type skills in the classroom. And I was unable to use that this year because it was too expensive, and so finding the MOOC was a lifesaver for me.
Oh, good. That's awesome. So kind of in day-to-day practice then, what was your curriculum look like?
Well, what we did is we do, my goal for my third-year class, this was the last quarter of the third-year class. So what we were doing now was basically working on test prep stuff because the end product was I was trying to get kids through the state math test, the Essential Skills math test.
Yeah.
And so I was doing curriculum work around one, just test taking, and two, on the skills of the math skills. And I used the MOOC as something we did twice a week. We would go to the computer. We have a computer lab, and I'd send all the kids, or I'd come with them, and we'd go to the computer lab, and I got them all enrolled together, and I gave them little notebooks and stuff, and had them write down their username and passwords and all that. And then I required everyone to work through at least the first module, and that was my requirement. And I think I got everybody through the first mod. I'm pretty sure. And then I also told the students that if they wanted to continue independently on their own, I would offer that as some extra credit if they could show me some decent scores.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had several kids then go ahead and complete all 9 modules.
Awesome.
And that's basically how I used it, is practice and to review skills. I also found it very effective just to give the kids a little taste of what an online course would be like, what the pacing would be like,
Mm-hmm.
and how difficult the work would be. And I think it was really valuable for that, for my students. I have really non-traditional students. They
Mm-hmm.
will, very few of our kids make it to a 4-year university. We managed to get quite a few into training programs and to community colleges. But they do really poorly on the Compass test, that
Mm-hmm.
math test they have to take when they go in because they always flunk the basic skills stuff.
Yeah.
They can do well on algebra, but they sure can't manipulate fractions or percent.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in high school, you don't spend any time on that because it's not part of our standardized curriculum. So it's awkward for teachers to figure out where to place this in a curriculum.
Yeah, absolutely. We see the same thing in Wisconsin here with our students.
And so it's in the Bridges class is where I can use the computer lab as kind of a place where we can review and drill and relearn those basic skills that I really can't teach them for credit as a high school level credit because
Mm-hmm.
it's not really high school level work,
Mm-hmm.
but I can get them to do it as part of the ongoing curriculum. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
if I'm making that clear.
Yeah, no, I absolutely know what you mean. That fractions percents module is really middle school, and we know that, but we see the same thing at the college level as students come in not knowing how to manipulate and work with the fractions, and it impacts people in calculus and pre-calculus. And
Oh, for sure. And I'm working with kids who are coming credit deficient. At our school, our average age of students entering is around 17.
Okay.
And usually they're at least a year behind on high school.
Mm-hmm.
A year's worth of credits. And these are not students who normally will want to do an elective math credit.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do math. It'll count for their high school diploma, but they're very reluctant to do any math that is not going to count as high school credit, and that's what it would be if I made the entire focus of the class on skills level math.
Yep. Yeah.
And so I have to find ways to kind of work it in as part of the class activity.
Awesome. What did you learn about your students through the MOOC?
Well, I was that their algebra skills are much better than their middle school math skills.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I also learned which ones are able to how much they need to navigate a website.
Mm-hmm.
That was very telling. I don't think a few of the students would have made it if I hadn't been leaning over their shoulders, pointing where to go and what to do. It took them a while just to learn how to navigate the site. I had a few kids make really good use of the online watching the how-tos, I want to call it online tutoring as part of the modules. And a few kids really voiced a preference for the Khan Academy presentations that were included. So those were very helpful too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we tried to put it was finding a balance between here's all of your resources, but let's funnel it so that it doesn't become overwhelming for you as a learner.
And I also had to, when I worked with the kids for the first 2 modules, I gave them a handout, like a packet.
Okay.
They had the problems printed on it, the presentation problems on each skill. And then it gave them room to work and write it down. And then I gave them, and I had a separate worksheet for the quiz and one for the test. Not the quiz, I think it was the quiz and the homework. And
the homework and the quizzes, yeah.
And I made them like a packet to go with Module 1 and Module 2. And then after that, I told them, now you're going to try keeping your own notebook. And I found that very handy.
That's an awesome
Kids.
scaffold.
Some of the kids didn't need the packet after the first module and went right to their own notebooks.
Yeah.
And some needed me to help them learn how to take notes.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't even...
In a college class, because that was very new to them, too.
Yeah, so you said the level of work and the volume, the amount.
Those were all new, but I think that would be true for any high school student. At least the ones we see.
Oh, no, I mean, that's part of it. That's why we paced it at 7 weeks, so students could say, okay, this is what a college pacing would be. You know, and a lot of people paced it what they wanted to.
It took about 3 weeks just to get them kind of feeling good enough that they'd work on it at home instead of just with me at the lab. I had very few students, actually, who went out and did this at home on their own. Most of them just did the module with me in the classroom.
What do you...
I had like 18 kids. I think I ultimately enrolled in about 5 of them are going to finish the entire thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm pretty impressed, actually, that many are doing it. I didn't require the whole thing, only at least the first module for my class. But I told them if they did more, I would extend their credits based on what they showed me.
Yeah, well, and they'll get, if they do pass through, regardless of how they pass through, they'll get a certificate, so they'll be able to show you. And
that was pretty motivating.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't attached to credit, that was motivating to them. They got something from a university.
Yeah, exactly. So do you think the fact that it was from a university played a motivation factor at all?
For my students, it did, because these are college. These are kids who don't normally have college graduates in their family. And if they do go on, and some of them are even first-time high school graduates.
Wow.
First-generation high school graduates in their family.
Wow.
So that's a big deal.
How do you see your role as the teacher? Did it change? Did it morph? Was it pretty much the same as you worked on the MOOC?
I would say I became more of a tutor for sure. You know, there was very little in terms of direct instruction around the MOOC. The only thing I did is before we went down to the computer lab, I went through the process for how to enroll, and I did an overhead kind of deal where they saw my computer screen on an overhead, and I showed them where to reach the different parts of the program and went through it that way. And that was the only direct instruction I did as a whole group around the MOOC. After that, we went to the lab, and it was all pretty much individualized with me stopping by the computers and just looking over their shoulders and directing.
Awesome.
I had a few kids, and sometimes they'd call me over when they were doing a problem, and we'd confer, and sometimes they helped each other. And so it was pretty collaborative in the computer lab, I would have to say.
But that's good. That's what we hope to see in learning. That's, and I think this part of the story is what's going to be neat about MOOCs because, people are publicizing them as you're learning on your own. And again, you're learning college level material. But our MOOC is very unique in that we're helping to bridge that high school to college. And we were seeing high school classrooms sign up. And that's really cool for us.
So I was wondering if you had many classrooms where the teacher just signed up everybody. That's great.
You're my 7th teacher who I've gotten to talk to me somehow. And I'm seeing, it's cool because I'm seeing similar themes with some differences. For example, your alternative education student population is different than some of the more traditional populations I've talked about. I had a special education education teacher, which brought a different twist to it, a middle school teacher who was using it with some accelerated students.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, because it is, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and some students are ready, or they think they're ready, or the school says they're ready, and so it's been neat to hear the differences, but also these similar themes of how you become kind of that coach or that mentor, that tutor, and students, find that individualization in their learning, which for me is how I hope learning continues, is that students can find that ownership and independence. So, let me look at my questions here. I guess then just kind of a broad one. What impact do you see MOOCs such as this, or exactly our MOOC, having on high schools, and what do you see the future of MOOCs being?
Oh, wow. I think in a math class, a MOOC could be invaluable in terms of it's a way that it's like another supplement to the teacher, for the teacher. It's another avenue to get kids into the curriculum. Like I said, I've used it before with with our students. We'd like to look more for online or computer things because we have problems with attendance. As an alternative school, we see kids who have left their other home schools, often for lots of different reasons, but when they do start returning to school, often they can't come every day. They've got to work, they've got responsibilities at home, and so we work with students that aren't able to attend every day, and in a math class, that's deadly. If it's a traditional math class where the class is moving along and you're not there, there's no hope in keeping up. But with the online things, it's there for them when they're available.
Excellent. Well, good. Any other things? Any success stories? I mean, you've talked about the 5 students almost passing through, and that's awesome. Just as I talk to other people, I love sharing some success stories of students. And
well, I just what I told you.
Yeah.
I've had a few kids do pretty well. They've all been very proud of themselves.
Good.
And very happy.
Oh, that's exciting to hear. MOOC has gotten big, and sometimes we forget to keep remembering, the humans, the students behind it, and in all walks of life. So
Right.
Awesome. Well, Lisa, I can't thank you enough for chatting on the phone with me. I'm excited to share your words with my colleagues and eventually the world as we work to get some research on the MOOCs out there. So.
Well, thank you so much for letting me enroll my class and use this resource. It was really helpful to me and really helps to my students. And I just can't thank you enough because I'm disappointed my district couldn't come through with me. And so when I was able to access your program, I was just in heaven. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, and please, I mean, happy retirement to you, but whoever fills your shoes, we will be offering it again, and some of our changes or our additions, you talked about kind of creating a packet of it. We are going to try to put some hard copy practice problems and even a hard copy textbook that could be downloaded as a PDF because we've heard that. We're also going to try to make it so that teachers could become a TA in the online world so that you could have access to the grade book of your students, which would be another nice feature for some teachers who are using it, like you said, as extra credit or curriculum, and you don't have to have them log in.
Right.
Yeah, so we're looking to enhance it so that it does become very user-friendly in the classroom.
Okay. Well, thank you very much because it was really a valuable service for me.
Excellent. Good. Well, you have a wonderful day, Lisa, and you have my email, so anything else or as your students continue on, I'm always happy to be a resource.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Maggie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.